Hi, I'm Scott Campbell at Solve 3D.
I'm Kevin Miller at Solve 3D.
Kevin, one of the biggest challenges that we came across with the machine learning tool that we have for point clouds is getting or allowing people to edit the classifications of their training data. Now, you've got a bit of a solution for us. Why don't you take us through how you can edit your point cloud?
For sure. So we now have a new tool inside of Engine called Point Cloud Markup, and it lets you do kind of exactly that. Lets you select points and edit them, maybe change their classification or delete them entirely from your LAS files. So just as an example here, I have loaded a point cloud here, a mobile mapping project here. You can see if I zoom out here, it's this whole street here. And if I double click here just to zoom in kind of here, I'm using my mouse wheel to zoom out again. Maybe right click and pan around. I'm just scrolling around this point cloud. You can see that there's already some points in here that are classified as ground and not ground. I'm just trying to find a certain area here. Let's go down to this bottom part here, maybe right here. You can see there's some points classified as ground and not ground, so brown being ground and everything else being white. But you can see there's some maybe you ran some noise filtering and it didn't do a good job, or for whatever reason, or there's some other objects that you might be concerned about. But say like these little shadows of cars here, they're not doing a perfect job at being classified properly. So let's try editing these. So before I do that, I'm just going to quickly change my color type to see this a little better. Let's try height rainbow. I think that's pretty good.
Yep.
So now to access the new Point Cloud Markup, you go to Tools and select Point Cloud Markup, and up pops this little window. So you have a couple options at this point. So I'm just going to uncheck this box. I'll talk about it in a second. But what I can do, you can see this little tooltip, it might be hard to see in the video here, but if you hold control and click and drag to select a box, you can select points, or if you hold shift and click, you can unselect points. So I'll demonstrate that. So say we're looking at this shadow of a car. I'm looking from the side here, see it. I'm gonna hold control and start dragging a box around, and you can see it selected that car. It also selected a whole bunch of ground though, and maybe I don't want to reclassify that ground or delete that ground. I want to keep it. So that's what that checkbox is for. If you've previously classified, and you see in this case, the ground not ground, you can actually click this checkbox and tell it to ignore the ground points and just select that one, the points that are not ground. So there we go, that one's selected. Let's just do a couple more here. I can do, control here. Maybe I go down the street, down here. And on purpose, I'm going to select a super big area here. You can see.
Oh, you picked up some of the pole back there.
Oh yeah, that's so this is a good case. Maybe I don't want that pole. So I'm just going to kind of get above it here. I can hold shift now and kind of unselect that pole here. So there, it's no longer red. So my coloration here maybe could be a little different if I adjust my height here. You can see my points that are selected here, these cars along the road. So what can I do at this point? Maybe I made a mistake and I just want to fix it. I can hit undo and undo that last selection, and you can see, hopefully we can see that pole is selected again.
That pole is selected again, or the bottom part of the pole is selected again.
Yeah, it's because of my coloration mode. Maybe I just quickly switch to classification there. You can see there are the red points on the road. Okay, so once I'm happy with my selection, a couple things I can do. I can choose to delete them by clicking delete selection, and that'll immediately remove those things I selected. So you see the 3 down there, and these 2 are now gone. They're no longer on the road. There's a few that I missed, so I could also do those if I want. Actually, let's just do those. Hit delete as well. They're also gone. So once I'm happy, maybe I've gone through my point cloud and made a whole bunch of changes, I can choose to apply these changes. So when you do this, it will basically create a new LAS file with the apply changes. So if I deleted points or if I've reassigned some classifications, it will recreate a LAS file. And you can choose to do a couple of things. You can either overwrite your existing files that I've loaded and it'll just remake a new one in the same spot, or I can choose to make a new, a new folder and select where I want these changes to be. Before I do that though, maybe I'll just quickly show you the, instead of deleting points, maybe let's just reassign these points. So I'm gonna undo those, get them all back. Maybe I'm not quite sure I want to delete them yet. I'm going to just change their classification. I click the apply classification button and now I select the classification value or the class that I want to assign it to. I think these are noise, so I'm going to assign them to 7 being the ASPRS standard for noise. Hit submit. And so now it's unselected those, it's assigned them to noise. So at this point, I can choose to export them. So I'm just going to put these into a new folder called noise here. Good. And hit submit. So this can take a couple minutes or seconds to minutes, depending on the size of your point cloud and the amount of changes you made. But it usually doesn't take too long. And what will happen once it's finished is Engine's going to reload this LAS file or your series of LAS files that you've made changes to. It's going to reload them back into Engine. And since I've assigned this selection to class 7, I should expect to see under the settings, the point cloud controls here, a new class 7 appear that I can also toggle on and off. So we'll give it a second to reload here. It's coming in. And here's my 0.7, or my class 7. So if I switch to classification, you can see here's my yellow class 7 that I can toggle on and off.
Okay, so we've got a tool that allows you to go in and manually edit. You can either delete points or you can classify them into another class, which is really useful for editing, especially your training data, but also the results of perhaps in a classification model that you're running as well. Great, thanks, Kevin.
No problem.